Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Nishmas, Mordechai. Beautiful, beautiful. Still in Los Angeles. Thank you for having me. In the Koilel, the Link Koilel, thank you so much. So it was a wonderful Shabbos. Wonderful people, wonderful atmosphere here. No wonder so many people want to live in Los Angeles. Be'ezer Hashem, tomorrow I'll still be here. And then Monday I'm off to Eretz Yisrael, through Chicago for a few hours. So Yishkar for coming out. I apologize for the delay. I just want to show you a few pictures and some emails. So here we have, let me see if this works. Oh, it does work. This is in Los Angeles, the Mishmar program, which I thought it was a beautiful thing and that other people should learn from this. The Chaver get together and you see on the table there's l'chaim and there's chalm and great singing and sometimes they're bringing in interesting speakers. As you can see this picture. This is the shir on Thursday night. I don't know, somebody told me there was over 200 people. Is that possible? Yes. Okay, wow. Beautiful. And tonight is even more. Rabbi Sai, in the Darchei Torah's newsletter, they showed this picture and they spoke about me there. And I'm the only guy in the picture that's wearing a tie. And I thought it was appropriate for tonight, the tie night, even though this is a Sunday morning shir, but it's really Motzei Shabbos here in Los Angeles. It's actually Sunday morning right now. I think it might be like 6. It's already 7 o'clock in Eretz Yisrael, so it's almost live time for Sunday morning shir. I can't speak to my mother about this. I always had tightness, so why she let me go to school like this with the payas flying, the tie, whatever, the whole thing. But different time, we'll schmooze. This from Jonah Light here in Los Angeles. Where is he? He's here? Somewhere. So we're having in Los Angeles last night shared link and then having you join Mishmar was truly awesome. My good friend Steve Bernstein introduced me to MDY at the very beginning of ybl'c, and now I'm hooked. Been learning online with you every day. Here's a picture of me doing chazara while on the run, and here are some pictures from last night too. So I'm not exactly sure. There's 3.2 miles and 36 minutes. Pace 11:21. Gewaldig. Oh, Moshe Kinsbursky is sitting right here. Shkoyach Moshe, I'm not wearing your suit. I actually brought your suit, but I'm not wearing it tonight. I was disappointed that I couldn't make it to the CM in Miami, but glad that I got to go ski with my kids. Finish the door and start Nazir while on vacation. There's no vacation from learning. Enjoy your time in Los Angeles. And Rabbi Sai, here goes. I think there's volume here.
Good morning, Rabbi Sai.
Basically say good morning, Rabbi Sai. Let's do it again. No?
So didn't the share from Friday.
I did?
All right.
And I even read your email? Oh yeah, I was tired. I'm very interested, and this guy's asking me Kashas and Gemara from Friday. I can't even remember email from Friday. Terrible. Erase, Yosef, erase. I hope I didn't read this one. On my recent trip this morning to New York from Eretz Yisrael, I saw someone boarding that looked like Yossi Klein. I thought to myself, it can't be. I just saw you playing with his payas in Miami. Then during the flight, when I went to the back of the plane, I see him learning at the exit seat, of course. Of course, we started schmoozing. Never saw such humbleness, I was pasha, blown away. And Nach, he tells me, Hakol Shalah, everything's my wife. So I went and told her what kind of zchus she has, even though I don't usually talk to women. I'm ganz chassidish. So after that, I went back to my seat and kept on learning till the end of the long flight. I just lost my cheshik to sleep. Echad, ma'anash, MDY, belaz. Anyways, chassid, to another chassid, yishkoyach. Rabbi said today, the koilel is sponsored by Anon Ymous from Lakewood, $10,000. And a second sponsor to the koilel may support another $10,000. May support entire strengthen our bitachon because all the money actually goes into one big pot. The Masechta is sponsored by Maaser. The second sponsor of the Masechta is Leilu Nishmas Yosef. Sponsor of the month, the Nishmas Zechariah ben Moshe. Second sponsor of the month, Shprintzy and Alan Gross. The Nishmas, the yahrzeits of our fathers, Shloima, Yצחak, Aiyzik, and Benimin Aiyzik ben Hirsh, הכהן, זכריה. Third sponsor of the month, the MDY family, Leilu Nishmas, Boruch, Helfgott, Zechroya l'Baracha, ben ybl'c, Mordche, Shloima. I told you I'm going to show you a picture to refresh your memory. Here it is. Here's the 2-year-old. He had some sort of accident. I don't know the exact story. And he was in a coma for a while. And his father made sure that the shir played, as you see in the background. They send us emails etc. And unfortunately, the kid was nifter. So the chaver from MDY got together and sponsored the month, the entire month for him. In honor of Mordechai Aharonoff, the best rebbe in Los Angeles.
He's here.
Where is he? That's you, Shalom Aleichem. Wow. Givaldi. The art, people love you out there. Where do you teach? Early out. My brother was a rebbe here in Eula for a few years. Eli Stefansky. Yeah, you remember him? The art is sponsored for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi Ben Leah Rabboisai. Here we go. I'll tell you because I'm a guest by Shloima Lazarian. I'm in a hotel, but I'm still his guest. And he loves this Rashi. And I got to tell you this Rashi. If you haven't noticed it, it's a beautiful Rashi. Rashi says on the pasuk that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu to take a tzinsenes of man and put it away. So he says that, where was it? In Daniel? Who said? Yirmiyah. Later on, when Klal Yisrael, they had doubts about Parnasa, so Yirmiyah took out the tzinsenes haman and showed it to them and said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has his ways. If you learn Torah, Parnasa will come. It's an unbelievable yesod. People think that they have to work 14, 16 hours a day to earn a living. If you learn Torah, you spend time doing the daf, spend time on Torah, don't worry about it. Hashem has his ways. He could even invent something like the man. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, put this tzinsenes, put this little jar away. You might need it one day. All right, the Mishnah, sponsored Nishmas Yechiel ben Reb Avram. Says the Eli Mishnah. Hareini Nazir l'kishiyeli ben. A person makes a neder of Naziros that if he has a son. Now, I want to ask you before we even start. These are very uncomfortable questions. I don't expect anybody to answer this, but it's a question to be asked. If somebody says, "I'll become a Nazir on condition I have a son," and unfortunately, or some people say fortunately, he has a handicapped son. Is that a son? Without being politically correct, is that what he meant? And what if, I know it's an uncomfortable question, what if he has a daughter, not a son? Is that what he meant? The answer to that really is, depends if you're Sephardi or Ashkenazi. So this individual said, you just got it now?
And he's Sephardi.
He's like, I thought everybody doesn't want to. Oh, it's only us. Okay. Woo. That's what took him that. Hareini Nazir l'kishiyeli ben. So this is the only thing that Yoshi did for today. Check it out. Oh. Okay, fine. So Rav Turjuman over here, the Nazir, the real life Nazir, he had a son. V'noy ben harei ze Nazir. Okay, he's a Nazir because the condition happened. Now there's zero chiddush in this, right? Obviously, if something happens, you said, I'll be a Nazir if something happens and it happened. Great. So the Gemara is going to explain, you're right, there's no chiddush here, but it's for this line over here. Bas. But what if he had a daughter? Now pay attention, his lashon was l'kishiyeli bein. Bein is a son. To exclude a daughter. He didn't say yeled, he said bein. Bein is a very strong language of a son. It happens to be that Arabs, for instance, when they have a son, they change their name. Let's say they have a son, the son is named Ahmad, they become Abu Ahmad. That's how it is, Abu something. Netanyahu, when he went to convince the what are they? The guys that live on the Bedouins. So he called himself, I think it was Abu Yair, because he has a kid Yair, I think. Called himself Abu Yair to tell him because if you don't have a son, you're garnish, you're nothing. I have a son. I'm not Netanyahu. I'm Abu Yair. Anyway, but if he had a daughter or a tumtum is one who you can't determine whether they're a zachar and a keva. Vandrogenos is that they have both zachrus and nakvos. Einoi Nazir. That's not what he meant. When he made his naziros, his neder was that if he has a son, not if he has a daughter or a tumtan androgenos. Im Omar kishiyeli Vlad. And he used a different lashon. He didn't say ben, but he said Vlad, a child. Afilu noila loy bas. Then even if you have a daughter, a tumtum androgenos, harez nazir. Okay, so this is very simple, easy to understand. Daf Yomi Amud Aleph. Hepila ishtoi. Einoi Nazir. So there's different ways. Let me minimize this. You're right. Let me get this out of the way. According to the way we're learning the Gemara, there's Taisus, there's Rush. If a child is born, stillborn, dead, then it's not a child. That's not what he meant in his neder. So it's green. He's not a nazir. Green. If the child was born a bar kayama, it's a healthy baby in the 9th month, everything's good, then he's a nazir. What happens later, the kid died, whatever, he's still a nazir. The only machlokes we have is in the third case, where the kid was born and the kid passed away within 30 days. And we don't know if the kid was a viable child or not a viable child. It's a big difference. A kid that's not a viable kid or child, so you don't even sit shiva, it's not a viable child. It's not considered a kid. It happens to be, I just want to give a lot of people, including myself, went through, many people, because there's like 20% of pregnancy, I forgot the number, it's a very high percentage, go through this tsar of losing a pregnancy. So, as a chizuk, Zilbashain says that the Mashiach is not going to come ad sheyichlu kol haneshama shebaguf. Guf is a place. It's not the body. It's a place in Shemayim that has neshamas. And when all the neshamas come down to earth, then Mashiach will come. So he says that when a neshama goes, when a woman is pregnant, it doesn't matter when, what point of pregnancy, the neshama goes into that baby. So even if she loses the baby, but she was makar of the geula, he says, because Mashiach can't come before all the neshamas come down, and she brought down another neshama. Reb Shimon Omer, so the Mishnah says that Pila Ishtoi Einoi Nazir. She's not a Nazir. Why? Because we have a suffix over here. We have a suffix if this kid was going to be viable or not viable. So on a suffix, he doesn't become a Nazir. Reb Shimon Omer, on a suffix, you should become a Nazir. We have a major problem. What's the problem, Rabbi Yisai? And this is Nageya because it's a thing. Even one of my children has a thing. I didn't speak to him yet. I hope he listens to this shir. He's a frum kid. But some people don't really know the halacha so well. There are two problems when a person thinks he's a Nazir and goes through the procedure of finishing his Naziros, and he's not a Nazir. What are the two problems? Bringing a carbon, chulun ba'azara. If you don't have to bring these carbonas, you think you're a Nazir and you're not, so you bring your chulun ba'azara. Is it deraisa? What else is the problem, Rebbeshi? Shaving your head. A Nazir must shave his head 0-0. Shave your head 0-0, like Michael Jordan. Is it deraisa? I hope there's nobody here that's insulting. So says Reb Shimon, this guy has to be a Nazir. But he can't be a Nazir. Maybe the kid is viable. Maybe he's not viable. What should he do? If the kid is not viable, he's not a Nazir. If the kid is viable, we don't know what the kid was. He died. Like, I remember learning this, like, back in the day when we were learning it in Nido, whatever. If there's an ultrasound like we have today, and we know that the kid is a full-term baby, it's already full-term, and then the kid is born, that's a viable kid, l'chayra. I'm not passing you now at all, just based on my very weak memory. But in those days, they didn't know. It was 9, 7, 9. 8 months. So it could be the kid is not viable. So what do? He has a trick. The guy must start his Nazirus, but he makes a stipulation. He says, if I'm a real full-fledged Nazir because I had a real son and the son was nifter, I'm a regular Nazir. Vimlav, and if my son wasn't viable, Hareni Nazir Nedava. So then I'm just going to become a full-fledged Nazir, but not because of my neder, but because I want to become a Nazir. So he is going to become a Nazir, but he has to make a stipulation. Chazar v'yolda. Again, by the way, if you look at Daf Yomi Amud Aleph on the last Tosfos, I want to point it out there. But Tosfos says, 2 lines into Tosfos, Ella mishum deloshin Nazir mishunim. The same idea that we had in Nedarim. Nazir, I saw it a few times in the Rishonim. Nazir is different. Mishuna, weird, different, whatever you want to call it. The Lashon is not your typical language of Shas. You can have also, and therefore also because we don't have Rashi, so you have a lot of issues between Tosfos and the Rosh and different Rishonim, what the Pshat is. It happens to be that the English art scroll goes always with the Rosh, the Hebrew art scroll goes always with Tosfos. It's a mess. I'm serious. I always thought that the English and the Hebrew are going to be in sync. They're not at all. So if you have different pshatim here in the sugya, just know that different ones learn differently. And the Masifta sometimes goes this way, that way. It's great. Akoparim. Taisus over here learns that it's a different pregnancy. The Rosh learns that they're twins. The bottom line is she had another baby. She has another baby. If they're twins, so the issue now becomes like, okay, so the twin could tell us if the kid that died is viable. Look, you look at the twin, and the kid is living, so it's a viable child. Why did his twin die? So a viable child died, so he should be a Nazir. Or no, then there's a whole discussion. Maybe it's possible that the twins grow at different paces. One is viable, one is not viable. Okay. Chazar v'yolda. She had another child. Haray's a Nazir. According to Tanakama, that he's not a Nazir because the first child was a suffix, viable or not. So now that she had a second child and it's viable, becomes a regular Nazir. But what does Reb Shimon do? Reb Shimon already had a whole trick and he made this guy become a Nazir on a suffix. So now what does he do? Now he has the suffix again. If the first one was viable, then the second one doesn't make a difference. If the first one was not viable, then he has to become a Nazir from the second one. So again, he has to go through the whole process that Reb Shimon said before. So he has to become a Nazir again, but he can't shave his head because it's the right to shave your head, and he can't bring karbanos. So what does he do? He says, I'm going to become a full-fledged Nazir, and I'm going to make a stipulation. If I need to be a full-fledged Nazir because of my neder about having a son, so that I'm being Mikayim the neder. And if I don't have to be Mikayim the neder, so I'm going to be a Nazir anyway because I feel like it. Says the Gemara. What does the Mishnah have to tell us that if a person said if he has a son, he's going to become a Nazir, and he had a son, he should become a Nazir? Okay, shkoyach. Says the Gemara, oh, you're right. Mishum seifa. There's no chiddush in that at all. It's just the way the Mishnah speaks. Starts off slow and gets into the chiddushin. Here's the pasuk. She tells Yaakov, take my Amma Billah, I will build up myself. So sometimes the person uses the Lashon Ben, he says, I'm going to have a son, I'm going to become a Nazir. Doesn't mean a son. Something that I'll build myself up, I have a daughter, whatever it is. Kamashmal on the line. I'll think that, Kamashmal on that. V'mo makshi eli vlad pshito. Right. So instead of saying that he's going to have a son, he said, I'm going to have a kid. No. So of course he should be a Nazir. Mao the same. Listen to this. I know that this is like the wrong city to say this line, but we gotta say it. Mao the sema, Vlad di michashev beinei inche ba'inan. You need, when he says I'm gonna have a child, he means a child that people respect and admire, and that means a boy. Kamashmal and not. So every time the Gemara says this, I have to say the story. I said it before, I'll say it again. There's a guy in Eretz Yisrael, not Ashkenazi, who warned his wife that if she comes home with another girl, because she already had 5, it's all over. And he sent her on her merry way to the hospital without even going with her. And the doctors noticed after she gave birth that she was in a terrible mood. So what's going on? She said, my husband said, it's going to be over. The doctor said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. He called up the husband. He says, listen, you had a son. Mazel tov. The guy was ecstatic. He says, listen, but I got to speak to you. Come to my office immediately. Goes to the office. He says, listen, the child was born without legs. I'm now in the hotel where I'm at. They have maybe 100 people with those legs that the springs. I don't. Yeah, but the new ones, the ones that they can run quicker than the bionic ones. But that's not the real problem. He says the real problem is kid can't really see, and it doesn't make a difference because he's also deaf. So the guy's, when he saw that he's crying and everything, he says, "No, I'm messing with you. You had a healthy baby girl." And you're like, oh, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Okay. The Ben Ish Chai says, by Vayifen Koi V'Koi, Moshe Rabbeinu looked to both directions. Vayarkei Nish. Ben Ish Chai says, I don't know if this is it was like Purim Torah. He says he saw that he doesn't have an ish, that they don't have sons, they only have daughters. Vayitmineu b'chol. I was laughing when I read it. Vayitmineu b'chol, and he buried him in the sand. He says no. When he made a kiddush for the daughter that he had, he did it in the weekday that nobody should find out. He was so embarrassed that he had a girl. That's what he says. But Lamaisa, in this week's parasha, it says Sus v'roichloi roma vayom. So the famous Vart, what did the horses do to deserve to drown? So they explain that they didn't know that they're going after Klal Yisrael, but they were a part of it. When you're a partner to something that's wrong, you suffer the consequence. And the famous Gemara that asks, we learn Torah, we do the daf, we go here, we go to shul. Women, they don't have that. So what's the schos? What is the Gemara, the famous Gemara? Because they encourage their husbands, they encourage their children, and that's their schos. Because that's what they explain. They explain because why does a person want a son? They want a son. Because the son learns Torah, it's becoming mitzvahs. We say every morning, Shalei Sani Isho. So, at the end of the day, when I was learning the sugya, I got to tell you, people are going to be upset at me. But my main nachas comes from my daughter. And I wish I had another daughter. So, each to their own. Be'ez Hashem, I'm going to have a lot of nachas for my sons. But right now, she's the most established. She has two grandchildren. She's like the most successful hairstylist in Eretz Yisrael, probably. Here by Eliza. Anyway, no, she never. Anytime I went to the parent-teacher conference, they said, "Get out of here. You don't need to be here. She's perfect. Hundreds. Just nachas. Sometimes you get nachas from the girls also. All right." Zog the Gemara. Hepila yishtoi einei Nazir. This guy Yaakov Friedman wrote me an email. He goes, I love the LA crowd. I guess he's not in LA. He goes, they're laughing, they're clapping, they're into it. It's geschmack. We're in different, I don't want to mention cities. Say jokes like, Not Manchester. They grab and laugh nicely over there. Okay. Hepila ishto yeri Nazir. Wife. Again, there's two pshatim. What hepila is. But according to how we're learning, Yipila means not that she gave birth to a stillborn, but she gave birth to a baby that died within 30 days. Ein Nazir. Man katani la. Rabbi Yehuda dekrihu. If you remember, Rabbi Yehuda said a fascinating halacha. If there's a pile of, let's say, fruit, and the guy says, I'll become a Nazir if there's 100 of them here. By the time he got to the pile, somebody stole the pile. Gone. Now he has no way to determine whether there were 100 or not. So what does he do? So there's a man that says he's not a Nazir because nobody puts himself in a position of a Nazirus. That's Rabbi Yehuda. There's a man that says no, he's a Nazir. So the reason why he's not a Nazir is because he's in a position of doubt. When he said he's going to become a Nazir, he never intended to put himself in doubt. Why would he put himself in a position? I don't know, I do know, I should be a half a Nazir, yes a Nazir. Do two Naziros become a Nazir? No, you're not a Nazir. You need to know for sure that you're a Nazir. Rabbi Shimon says no, you should become a Nazir on the doubt, on the suffix, but he should stipulate, if I really need to be a Nazir, I should be Mekayim my Neder, if not, I'm doing it on my own. Hareini Nazir Eli Ben. So Rabbi Abba asked a question. We have a few questions today, and they're strong questions. Now we don't have answers for them. If a person says, I want to become a Nazir, when I will have a son. Ve'pila ishtar, and his wife miscarried. Ve'hifrish karban, and he decided that he's a Nazir, and he designated a karban. V'chazra v'yalda, and then she gave birth, mahu. So the Gemara says, wait a minute, what do you mean mahu? Depends. It's not a question according to Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon holds that even on a suffix, you become a Nazir. So there's no question. We had a suffix here, the guy should become a Nazir. He designated animals for his Nazirus. They're full-fledged korbanos. It goes according to Rabbi Yehuda that says no, he's not a Nazir. My Kaddish or Kaddish. We're talking about the animal. Does the animal have some kedusha or not? Anytime you designate an animal as a carbon, you can't use it, you can't ride it, you can't shear its wool. It's awesome. Teiku. Okay, we don't know. So there was a gadol, his name was Rebbe Margolis. Happens to be a Mizrachnik. I'm not a Mizrachnik, but he happens to be one. But I say he's a gadol because he was a real Talmid Chacham. He used to wear blue shirts, shorts, a real. But he wrote a sefer, Margolis Hayam, and in there he writes that there were certain Amoraim that their name was based on a question in Shas. They're not brought many times in Shas, but their entire name is based on their question. L'mashal, Rabbi Yitzchak Margala, because he asked the question: what if you find a Margala? Migdala. Rabbi Yitzchak Migdala, which is a tower. And what if you find something in the shape of a tower? So they call him Migdala. So he says also, this person right over here, Ben Rechumi, is based on the question that he says that he asks over here. If a person loves his friend or not, the word Rachamim, and you never have him again in Shas. Ben Rechumi Ma'abai. He asked the question. Already Nazir l'kshieli ben. I want to become a Nazir when I have a son. V'omar v'shom ha'chavere v'omar v'olai. See, right over here. Rabbi Turjuman says, Harei Nazir l'kshieli ben, and the guy that's lit says v'olai. V'olai. Now look what happens here. Rabbi Turjuman has a son. Now the question is, Does Mr. Lit mean V'alai? I want to be exactly like Rabbi Turgeman, meaning I want to have my own son, or he means V'alai. When Turgeman has a son, then I'll become a Nazir. What did he mean? Here, there's one more. This I did Matzah Shabbos, so excuse me. Does it mean that Lit had a son? Nobody liked that. They didn't like the potato guy. Okay, fine. Either way, he's not a real guy. You can have a potato head, you can have anything you want as a son. Fine. Imtim Shloima. Oh, sorry. Mau adibure mashma, vayagufe mashma. Is he referring olai, meaning on whatever his friend said? I want exactly that. The first guy's words. Vayagufe mashma. He's talking about himself. I also would like a son, and when I have a son, I'm going to become a Nazir. Intim Shloima gufe mashma. Now Rechumi keeps on going. Doesn't stop. If you say that he's talking about himself. Omar already Nazir l'kishiyeli ben l'shom achaver v'omar v'ani. Here. Wow, this is slow. Sorry. Oh, he didn't say v'olai. He said v'ani. V'ani. Mal. Arav sheiko Omar oidilmo chiko Omar rechim naloch kivasach. See, that's why his name is Rechumi. Maybe I love you like myself, kivasach. I love you. Intim Shloima kol ba'ampe kisif elei milsa ybl'c Beis. Maybe when a guy says, think about it, a guy doesn't have children for 5 years. He's going to doctors, doing the whole thing, going to Rabbanim. And he says, if I have a child, if I have a son, I'm going to become a Nazir. So it's not very appropriate for his friend to say, I also don't have children. I'm also running around to doctors. It's embarrassing to say that in front of the guy. What's more appropriate is to say, I feel for you. So let me be mishtatev in your tsar. You want a son? I feel for you. I'll also become a Nazir if you have a son. We're going to give tzedakah. I'm going to say tehillim for you that you should have a son. I'm going to become a Nazir that you should have a son. Nobody wants to say, you think your disease is a problem. You know what I have? That's not nice. I've been married for 7 years and I don't have kids. Doesn't work. Ksif elei milsa. It's embarrassing, the Gemara says. Omar. Hareini Nazir l'kishiyeh l'ploini ben. But what if he said, I'll become a Nazir when so-and-so, a third guy, has a son. V'shom achaveroi v'omar v'ani. I think we can learn a lot from this Gemara. Because how many of us here know people that don't have children? Know people that don't have jobs? Know people that have, different diseases? The Gemara teaches us how to do it. The way to do it is, you take upon yourself something for your friend. You say, Hashem, I want my friend to have a child. And if he has a child, I'm going to give X amount of tzedakah. I'm going to learn X amount of Torah. In this case, I'm going to become a Nazir. It's a way to force Hashem's hand. It's an unbelievable thing. Not very many people do it, I don't think. To promise Hashem something, a ruchlis thing, on condition that Hashem does XYZ for my friend. If he has a son, I want to become a Nazir. And now lit guy says, okay, I also want to jump into this. Mao. This is Rechumi, keep on going. Me, I'm reading Shloima Fonav Anafshei Kamar. Look, he's not embarrassed now because the guy that doesn't have a child is not there. He doesn't even know about this. So maybe when he says Vani, he's talking about himself. I also have the same tzara. So I think it's a great idea. If I have a child, a son, I'm going to become a Nazir. Kivasach, I love that third guy. That other guy that's not here, that doesn't have Kivasech, like myself. Tibai. Again, Lashon Nazir is Meshuna, Tibai. Instead of Teiku, Tibai. Meaning we don't have an answer to this.
And either side won't become a Nazir.
Huh?
And either side won't become a Nazir, but you say he meant him, he didn't mean him. He needs to become a Nazir either way, you know?
What again?
Is whether he's a Nazir only if he has a child? Or
only if he has a child. Only if he has a child, that's what he's saying.
When he has a child, I become a Nazir.
When that guy has a child, maybe he's counting on him never having a child. He's already married for 20 years. Well, the guy in Israel just had a child after 34 years. What was it? 34? The guy in my neighborhood, 21 years. Ytzchak, he came to Shir, the whole thing is, I see the child, but this guy is like 30 years. No? You didn't hear about it? Just like this month. Only then he becomes a Nazir. The turning the page, sponsored Chvod Yeshivas Noam HaTorah in Yerushalayim Arav David Amin Shlito. Always encourages us to finish Shas. And Latzlacha, the Magid, the members of the HBA Group, and their families. Amen. Says the Eli Mishnah, also sponsored. Heshi, you see what's going on? It's crazy amount of sponsorships. We got to stop this. L'nishmas Ramei Yechiel ben Rebbe Avram. Hareini Nazir, v'Nazir, k'shiyeli ben. I'm becoming a Nazir, and I'm taking upon myself a second Nazirus when I have a son. So there's two Nazirus going on here. First one, no charts. I wanted to do a chart for this. It's simple, so we don't really need it. We'll just use my fist. There's the regular Nazirus. That's a 30-day term. And there's another term that he added to that. If he ever has a son, he wants to do another one. What came first? The regular term. He started counting the right hand, or to you guys it's the left. The regular Naziros, and then he had a son, he should first finish off the first 30 days that he started. What came first? The regular 30 days. The regular one came first. The son came second. He started the regular, finished the regular. Yes, he had a son on day 15. Finish it. Anyway, in his words, the Nazirus for the son came second. So it's not a problem. What's very interesting is, does he bring a karbo when he finishes the first 30 days? Does he shave his head? The answer is yes. He finishes, any person that says, I want to become a Nazir, I want to become a Nazir. So he does 30 days, shaves his head, buys the 3 korbanos, goes to the Beis HaMikdash, finishes, then he starts all over again. So that's what he does here. You're going to see that's not so simple in the next case. Haredi Nazir K'shili Ben. Now he reverses it. The first Nazirus is when I have a son. And he adds V'Nazir. And I'll become a Nazir again, another term. So son is 1. 30-day Nazirus is 2. But he started the second term first. And then his son was born smack in the middle of his regular term, which is the second term. He started the second term before the first term, but then he became chayiv in the first term. Why? Because he had a son. So he stops doing his first Nazirus, which is the second one, the second term. He starts the son. If you notice over here, the Mishnah doesn't use the lashon mashlim. Before it said he should be mashlim. He should finish the first term and start the second term. Mashlim means finishing it. Going to the Beis HaMikdash with korbanos and shaving the head. Over here it doesn't say that. It says maniyah. Put it on the side. Umayna shel benai. Do the term that you promised first if you have a son. V'achakach mashlim es shaloi. And then you do the Shloima on the second term. Meaning what? When do you shave and when do you bring korbanos? all the way at the end, after you did both terms together. It's a big chiddush. Because if you promise 2 terms, you should bring korbanos in between each one. But over here, you had to start the second term in the middle of the first term. And you only finished the first term after the second one. So do everything at the end, bring korbanos, and shave your head one time all the way at the end.
Well, that's what you do that. So you don't bring korbanos after you start the second.
We're going to let him ask more questions because he never comes to the shir. It's fine. Yeah, what?
You don't bring korbanos when you start the second in the middle.
No.
You have to wait.
What are you going to bring a carbon then? Think about it. Let's think about it together. The guy started a term of Naziros. He went 15 days into it. Mazel tov, his wife had a baby boy. He can't bring a carbon then. He's not finished. He didn't finish his 30 days, 15 days. And now he starts his baby boy Naziros, the second one. Starts, finishes that. You saying he should bring a carbon then? No. He doesn't bring that. He brings all the way at the end when he finishes up the first one. Boy Rava. We're just going to do the questionnaire, maybe a little bit of the teretz, and then the rest we'll do tomorrow. Boy Rava Amarini Nazir. La'achar esrim yoim. One term is going to start 20 days from now. U'mi'achshav mea yoim. And I'm not going to wait 20 days. I can start whenever I want. Mi'achshav doesn't mean this minute. It just means I could go for this minute. I could go tomorrow. But I'm not going to wait. I don't have to wait 20 days. Ma'u. What's the question? Could you even start the 100-day term? Because what's the problem? I promised first that I'm going to do a Nazir in 20 days from now. So from 20 days from now and 30 days after that, I'm already taken. I'm already spoken for. I'm going to be a Nazir in 20 days from now for 30 days. In other words, up from today until 50 days from now, I'm not going to be done with Naziros. I have no business starting a Naziros that can't finish beforehand. It's 100 days long. So it's not even gonna start. So the issue here is also, if you terminate a Nazir, so you make him start, you have to have enough here to cut off. Enough here is minimum 30 days. So over here, because we have a 100-day period, so even if we stop him, we say, okay, let's start, it's 20 days, now let's start a new Nazir. By the end of the 100 days, he's going to have plenty of hair to cut off, so maybe it should work like that. So we'll continue Be'ez Hashem tomorrow. It continues, why did Rav ask the question like this? It should have been asked a different way. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, a good vach, Yishkoyach.